Yes, well, I had a wonderful time there as well, even though I did feel sorry for lots of those animals there, Stinky, but they are in very good hands, dear, and they've got lots of people giving them love and all the attention that they need to get well. What's that? Oh, it's the puppets, the puppets! Hello, my little puppets, mums and dads, and welcome back to story time once again. Well, Stinky and I have just returned from the Animal Rescue Centre. Yes, we often go there and we volunteer and help with some of the animals there. Stinky likes to give them fresh fruit for some of the animals there, possums in particular, and fill up their water bowls so they've got lots of fresh water to drink. And while we were there, they had two kookaburras that they had rescued actually. One had been hit by a car, so it had an injured wing. And the other one, I'm not quite sure what was wrong with the other one, but it wasn't well either. But I was just saying to Stinky, the wonderful people that work at the Animal Rescue Centre take very good care of the animals there. Baby joeys and wombats and all sorts of animals, and of course these two beautiful kookaburras that of course make that wonderful laugh that they are known for. What's that? Can I laugh like a kookaburra? Well, I don't know, Stinky. It's a rather difficult laugh to try and mimic, my dear. But I suppose I could have a go. They sort of go... Oh, yes, what did you think of that? That sounded dreadful. Yes, well, it did sound rather terrible, I have to say. But at least I had a go. But of course, when you hear the kookaburra do it, mums and dads, it's quite a magical experience, I have to say. And they do like to have a laugh, don't they, Stinky? Yes, they most certainly do. Well, waffling on just a bit like I do. So speaking of kookaburras, my dear ones, today's story is called Kookaburras Love to Laugh. And thank you, Stinky dear. And this is very, very fitting with today. And of course, a very handsome kookaburra there on the front cover. Oh yes, kookaburras love to laugh. And they most certainly do. Wonderful, wonderful birds, I have to say. Yes, this does look like a cracker. And here we go, my dear poppets. This is a kookaburra. Kookaburras, Stinky, love to laugh. Yes, they most certainly do. And there's our cooker, mums and dads and poppets of course, sitting there on the branch high up there in the tree. Often if you go for a bushwalk, you'll see kookaburras high up in the treetops. Or sometimes they like to even sit on the power lines if you live in the bush. They laugh when it's sunny, they laugh when it's rainy. They laugh when it's windy, Stinky. Often they laugh for no reason at all. They just can't help it. But this kookaburra can. Well, there's a kookaburra there, my dear poppets, at the very bottom of the page, and he doesn't like to laugh at all, which of course is very, very unusual for a kookaburra, because of course they love to laugh. Well, I wonder why this one is different and doesn't like to laugh. How very odd. This guy doesn't like to coo and he isn't keen to car. He's the most serious cooker in the borough, Stinky. He has always been different and it makes the other kookaburras nervous. Well, there he is there. He's playing a violin. He's reading a newspaper and he's even giving the branch of a tree a bit of a sweep there with a broom. So he does lots of different things, but he doesn't like to laugh. Well, that's all right. Perhaps this kookaburra is a serious kookaburra. He just doesn't have much of a sense of humour, and that's okay too. So they make it their mission to make him laugh. Day after day, they tease, trick, joke and prank. Well, there they are there. One has a feather duster. The other one is wearing a crocodile costume there. So they're trying all sorts of tricks and pranks to make their serious kookaburra friend laugh. I somehow don't think they're going to get a laugh from this kookaburra. let alone a giggle. Yes, no, he's just not the laughing kind. What goes cooker plop? Oh, a bit of a funny joke there. That one even has a microphone. He can't live with these jokers anymore, Stinky. He's off to find some less foolish friends. Well, there they are there, my dear poppets, and they're still trying to make that cooker laugh, even though they're not having any luck at all. So I think this Kookaburra is going to go and find some other sort of bird friends. He's just had enough. Well, I wonder if he'll have any luck. Perhaps he'll find some other birds a bit more like himself. But he soon discovers that all flocks have their flaws. Yes, well, that's true. Mine, fighting over a chip. Some are rude, Stinky. Some are too loud, and some are just too quick. Well, there's the Kookaburra there, my dear poppets, mums and dads, and he's fighting with some seagulls there over a chip. Oh yes, seagulls do love chips. Sometimes you can have fish and chips down by the seaside, and once they get a smell of those chips, they come flying from all directions. Oh yes, they're not going to give up that lovely crunchy potato chip. Some are wild, some are greedy, and some, Stinky, are just plain mean. He's about to give up when... Well, there's our cooker there. He's sitting on a fence post, and there's another bird there who's going to give him a nasty peck on the top of his head. A rather dreadful bird indeed, doing that to our poor cooker. Oh dear, what is this Kookaburra going to do? Oh, he's having a rotten time. He just can't find any decent bird friends. He spots a flock that might just fit the bill. Oh yes, well I don't think he's going to get any talking from these birds, Stinky. And of course, there he is there, and two wonderful pink flamingos there, of course, in the garden. Oh yes, but they're just statues, so he's not going to get any sort of response from those. Oh dear, but they are a lovely shade of pink, I have to say. Yes, well these ones actually have tags on them, so perhaps it's a yard sale, because there's some water cans and a gnome there as well. And at last he is free to be himself, Stinky. Well, he's quite happy there. He's sitting there on her back, and he seems quite pleased about it. Well, perhaps he's going to make that garden, that person's back garden, his new home. He seems very, very happy indeed. Just perhaps he will. Yet something doesn't feel quite right. Yes, no, it doesn't feel right, Stinky, at all. Well, there he is there. He's still in the wonderful garden there, but he's having second thoughts. Perhaps he should go back home after all. Yes, maybe he should. He can't seem to make up his mind, this wonderful cooker. Meanwhile, back in the gum tree, the Kookaburras miss their moody mate. Oh yes, he's moody. They decide to make a few changes. Well, they've got a box there with all their pranks and tricks, which is going to be donated to the Salvos, to the Salvation Army. They're going to get rid of all those. So they've made a few changes. Perhaps that will make their friend feel a lot better, I don't know. Perhaps they won't joke and prank quite as much as they used to. When their friend returns, they put on their most serious faces, Stinky. Oh yes, they're being very serious indeed. Well, there they are there. They're not laughing and they're not joking, they're not pulling pranks, and they have a very serious expression on their faces. They most certainly do. Well, perhaps that will make the cooker feel a lot happier, I don't know. He's a very moody Kookaburra after all. But to their surprise, what goes Kookaburra plop? A Kookaburra laughing his head off. Oh yes, well, what a pleasant surprise. And there they all are sitting there together. Because I have to say it's much nicer when you hear a kookaburra laugh. Yes, it's just not the same when a kookaburra doesn't laugh. Yes, kookaburras love to laugh, even this one. He laughed in the end, Stinky. And there they are all laughing away and having a jolly old time there up in the gum tree. And he got to laugh after all. Well, maybe it just took this kookaburra a little bit longer to learn how to have a giggle and a laugh. Most of the time. Oh, and there's another kookaburra there with a peg on his beak to keep his beak closed. Yes, I suppose it would be a bit hard to sleep if they were laughing all night long. The end, and that was called Kookaburras Love to Laugh. And of course, they most certainly do. I did like this one very, very much, Stinky. I have to say, it was a very cute story, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Well, mums and dads and poppets, of course, once again we've come to the end of story time. I hope you enjoyed that book, Kookaburras Love to Laugh, because we certainly did. Perhaps you could pretend to be a kookaburra and go, oh yes, perhaps you'll do it a little bit better than I did. Or perhaps you could draw a kookaburra. Get out your pens and pencils and paper. And as always, my dear ones, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, bye.